and welcome. Thank you very much for coming to our energy efficiency workshop this morning. We're going to be talking about energy efficiency, resiliency, and sustainability, and we have some experts in their field that we've invited to talk about those topics. This morning's workshop is geared particularly toward the needs of commercial businesses in the village of Pinecrest. We're hopeful that you'll leave this morning with a lot of useful information that can help you become more resilient and able to prepare for and recover after storm events that are occurring with more regularity, it seems. Better able to withstand power outages and other challenges caused by those storm events. Before we get started, I'd like to make a few introductions. I'm Steve Olmstead, Planning Director for the Village of Pinecrest. We have Leo Llanos, the building official for the village. Paul Buckler, assistant building official. Pat Janice is the village planner. And Tom Flingos is our electrical inspector and an expert in his field. We also have representatives from PACE Financing that can help finance some of the energy improvements that we're going to be talking about this morning. We have Jose Marcos from Counterpoint Energy Solutions. We have Louis Royer from Renew Financial, and Kerry Stark from Y-Green is here also. We have representatives from Florida Power and Light, Rolly Marrero and Ernie Rodriguez. We have two representatives from Florida City Gas, Elda Moyer and Manny Gomez. And we also have Angel Trosabaros is here from Enterprise Electrical that'll be talking about generators. And Raul Vergara and Andrew Ortega from Cutler Bay Solar Solutions will be talking about solar options, and they also have a demonstration that they've set out under the outside. And when we get to that point in the presentation, they have a presentation that they'd like to show you. So the Army Corps of Engineers has analyzed tidal data for the past many years at Key West on an annual basis, and based on that tidal data that they've analyzed, they've projected that sea levels are rising and are projected to rise by 9 to 24 inches by the year 2060. And so we have had increased number of storm events that have been occurring, increased flooding that has been occurring, and to prepare for that, the Village of Pinecrest has undertaken a number of different initiatives. We've prepared a climate change element. We've analyzed changing climate and prepared a climate change element that is now part of our comprehensive development master plan and is the basis for many of the regulations that we've been working on also over the past several years. We've prepared a stormwater master plan that analyzes stormwater drainage and flooding that's been occurring in the Village of Pinecrest and recommends a number of different capital improvements to address those flooding issues. We've adopted a new flood ordinance, and part of that ordinance, if you're in the flood zone, you're now required to elevate the finished floor an additional foot beyond what was ordinarily required. And then in terms of the land development regulations, there are a number of different regulations that the Village Council has adopted over the course of the past several years to help us deal with changing climate. We have a sustainable building program, and I don't know if you'd like to talk about that, Leo, or if you'd like me to cover it either way. The Sustainable Building Program is available to anybody that remodels or builds a new building in Pinecrest. If you build it according to certain green standards prescribed either by LEED or Florida Green Building Council or Energy Star or Green Globe or an equivalent type of standard, then there are certain incentives. You get expedited permitting through the Village of Pinecrest, fast-track development review, partial rebate of permit fees that range anywhere from 15 to 30%, recognition by the Village Council, presentation with a proclamation, and other signs and advertising of your particular project that could be of benefit to you. All new construction or remodeling beyond 50% of its assessed value now, whether it's commercial or residential, is required to at least be prepared to include piping and conduits and prepare the building for future installation of either a solar water heater or solar photovoltaic electric panel. So solar is not required, but at least you're required to prepare for it, for the installation in the future. Also, new construction or remodeling beyond 50% of the floor area is required to provide one electric vehicle charging station. And on Pinecrest Parkway, if you develop adjacent to Pinecrest Parkway, which all of our commercial businesses are located, if you want to take advantage of the alternative development plan that's available within that district, you get a 5% reduction in the required amount of green space, 5% reduction in the amount of impervious coverage, but in return for that, you're required to also provide one electric vehicle charging station. And smaller businesses with fewer than 20 parking spaces would be exempt. So those are some of the regulatory requirements that have been implemented by the Village of Pinecrest and some of the incentives that we offer. We'd be glad to, we have some information from the land development regulations that are at the back of the room that you're welcome to take with you that include the specific regulations that I mentioned briefly just a few minutes ago. If you don't have any questions, we have, our next presentation is on generators. I know that we have Angel Tresabaras from Enterprise Electrical, who is here, and Tom Flingos will be talking about generators and installation and requirements for commercial businesses. Tom, would you like this? Or
please let Angel know.
Good morning, everybody. As Steve said, my name is Angel. I represent Enterprise Electrical Contracting. We are a full-service electrical contractor established in 1987. So we've been doing a lot of work in South Florida for a long time. We're FPL's approved contractors. You'll see our trucks. We have big bucket trucks. Our trucks do light poles. We do underground work. We do emergency storm work, as well as home, industrial, and commercial power restorations, reparations, and installations. We have a generator and standby power division. We're Generac and Kohler certified dealers. Steve asked me to talk a little bit about what we can provide for businesses and commercial use generators. I know a lot of the businesses, pretty much the majority of businesses in Pinecrest are all on, you correct me if I'm wrong, are all on US 1 or Pinecrest Parkway.
For the most part.
For the most part,
yes.
Installing a generator in some of those locations is tricky, but I'm sure that we can work around some of that because there's setback regulations.
Well, setback regulations, of course, would be a zoning issue, but we're always willing to work to get generators in for commercial business. Also, you can be generator ready, which means you put a transfer switch and a place to plug a portable generator.
Something we could roll up in a time of an emergency, natural disaster, or something like that. So there's always different types of solutions that we can provide to get your business or your establishment ready in case we do have another storm that's going to stop the power. I just found out from Kerry Stark, who's here from Y-Green, that he confirmed for me that generators are now covered once again, for commercial businesses through Y-Green, so they can help funding on that. We're also working on an in-house financing program for the future. I'd love to be able to give everyone a curbside price or a curbside adjustment kind of idea, ballpark figure what they would be, but every installation is different, every load demand is different, every application is different. Back there I have a sign-in sheet that if you'd be so kind to leave me your information if you're interested. I'll get back to you. We can do a free evaluation. We will be out there. We'll have one of our engineers, or we have 2 master electricians at the company. We'll do a load calculation, give you a proposal and different options on what's best suited for your establishment. Also, if you do decide to go with us, we have a 10% discount on the full package of generator installation, or whatever you choose. If you just want to go for standby power, or if you want to go for something that's prepared, that has you ready in the event that you lose power and we have to roll up a generator.
Well, once you're under an emergency situation, all of the requirements go away for noise and setbacks and all that, with the exception of the exhaust is required to be 10 feet away from any type of an opening for safety. One thing that just happened here, we revised our zoning code, correct, for generator setbacks, so that now it's the manufacturer's recommendation off of the side of a building. Before we had a minimum 5 feet. Now if the manufacturer allows it, you can be 18 inches. Correct. So it makes it a little easier to get a generator in. My experience is most businesses, gas stations are required if you're within 2 miles of an evacuation route, grocery stores, drug stores, now ALFs are required, but you can do a connection point. You don't have to have a generator. And that's what I see mainly in business. They get a generator ready, and then they have a contract, or, so if you have a space problem, you can be ready and you can operate your business and not lose, especially here in Pinecrest. With all the trees, we have such a problem. When the power goes down, it takes a long time to get it back up. So if you want to operate your business and it's still in good shape, and that's really a cost-effective way to do it without spending a lot of money and having a machine sitting there. If you're a grocery store, you need your generator. I mean, you've got a reason to have it, but if you're just a regular business, you roll something up, plug it in, and you can operate. So there's a lot of alternatives. We're always available in the building department to discuss anything you would need to know to help you to get a generator or any kind of an electrical permit. So.
Well, pretty much that covers the installation part. Again, if you do decide to go with a generator or an evaluation, I welcome you guys to come back, fill out your name and some other information. We're not going to sell your info to a mailing list or anything like that. One point service is actually one of our best features. Is you'll deal with us. We take care of the gas contractor. Florida City Gas is here. We deal with them, whether it's LP gas, natural gas, or if you get a sub-base tank or underground tank. So it's something to consider. As Steve said, we're getting storms with more frequency. In this past month, we've installed 9 generators just to date. So today's the 20th. So since June 1st, I've installed 9 generators. So now's the time people are reacting. And there's also, aside from the 10% that Enterprise is offering, Generac and Kohler are also offering some incentives and some rebates and stuff like that on some of their machines and their larger gensets. Okay. Well, thank everybody for their time. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be in the back if you have any questions. Thank you, John.
Anybody have any generator questions? Okay. Thank you.
I don't know if I also introduced Elda Moyer and Manny Gomez from Florida City Gas. They're also here. With regard to solar, I know there's a display that's been set up outside. Cutler Bay Solar Solutions. Before we get started with that, is Raul Vergara here?
Yes.
So Raul and Andrew are from Cutler Bay Solar Solutions and can talk about some solar options that are available today. And at the end of our workshop, we'll go outside and we'll take a look at the solar display that they have brought with them to demonstrate.
Thank you. Good morning. Like Steve says, my name is Raul Vergara. I am with Cutler Bay Solar Solutions, and we're a local solar installer in the area. we do both residential and commercial installations. And one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle that have always been missing with solar has been the storage solution. So unfortunately, up in the past, when we spoke about solar, when we thought about solar, it was always about just being able to produce the energy that you're consuming, but the ability to store that energy for a storm, for the nighttime, or any time that the grid is not available, was really confined, was really restrictive, and very expensive. And one of the reasons why I'm very glad that we were asked to come here today is because the technology has now moved forward at such a rapid pace that we now are able to offer the solution to use solar, renewable energy, clean energy, and be able to store it and even use it during a power outage. So the way that solar works is that the solar panels produce the energy that your building is consuming. So we do an energy assessment, we decide how many solar panels it will take for you to be able to operate your business, and there's a cost and a savings involved. Most customers, especially in the residential and even in the commercial, see a large reduction of their utility cost. We work hand in hand with FPNL. We're partners. This is not, one or the other. We produce the energy during the peak hours. That energy that you're not completely consuming in your business or in your home gets sent out to FPNL. FPNL works with us. They place what they call a net meter on your location, and they give you dollar for dollar credit for what you overproduce as long as you consume it. As a matter of fact, they give you 12 months for that consumption period. So they have a great, fair program in conjunction with the solar. So now the solar panels are producing the energy for your business. They're saving you a substantial amount of money. At nighttime, your business runs off of FPNL, but from the energy that you produce during the daytime. Now, during a storm, during a power outage, during an emergency situation, for safety reasons, the panels automatically shut down. And that's simply because of the system that we have set up, where you are sending power back to FPNL and back to you. If people from the power company are out working on the lines, we have to take their safety into concern. We have to take your home or your business safety into concern. So it is very important that no excess energy is out available. And therefore, up to this point, the panels shut down completely. It's automatic, there's nothing you need to do. It just happens and the panels do not produce any energy. So that leaves us with, well, then what good is a solar system during a power outage? And that's where the storage solutions that have become available, lithium ion, lithium phosphate, we all have all knowledge of the big solar banks, and it will take an entire room worth of batteries to do storage, and that has changed tremendously. And that's what we want to show you today. We have brought with us actual batteries, what they look like. We have the solar panels, the inverters technology, which is what takes the electricity from AC to DC, from DC to AC, have changed completely. As a matter of fact, beginning in 2019, the first inverters that will actually be able to control the amount of energy the panels are producing are going to be rolling out. So solar has come a very, very long ways. In a business, if you do not have the space to do a generator, if you do not have the space or the ability because settings, parking spaces, whatever the reason might be, you probably still have substantial amount of roof space. And that roof space is just sitting there now, not being utilized. Maybe a couple of mechanical equipment, but a large amount of roof space is available. You can utilize that roof space not only to provide you emergency power during an outage, but also savings every day. So where a generator will provide you a benefit during a certain period of time, solar can provide you a benefit 365 days out of the year. And as you can see outside, solar is one of these sources that we're always going to have. The day we don't have the sun, we have much bigger problems than not having power. We have a lot of bigger issues that we need to address. So if we're also, taking your name, we can come out to your business, we can give you an assessment. But the important part to remember is that at this point, solar is a solution so you can maintain your business running during a power emergency. Because we have the capability, working with the building department and with the proper equipment that we can install in your business, and Pinecrest is one of the areas where they work very closely, and they really are very helpful expediting solar permits and also lower costs for any kind of solar installation. So the benefits are there, the equipment is there. We can take a look at your business and we can decide whether your business is a prime candidate for solar. Okay, any questions?
I have one, so that everybody can, maybe they understand a little better. So the new technology with the LG batteries and the Tesla batteries and all of the packs, that allows the solar panels to still produce electric even in an outage.
Correct. The reason why, to put it in very simple terms, everybody always says, why can't my solar panels work when the power is out? Solar panels do not work the same way as a generator. A generator, when you install a generator in a house or a business, the generator is only producing the electricity that the house is consuming at that moment. So if your house or your business is pulling, I'm going to, a nice simple number, 10 kW, the generator, as long as it's a big enough generator, is able to produce the 10 kW, it will not produce 11. It only produces exactly what that business or house is drawing. Therefore, you're able to segregate from the grid, you're able to separate with a transfer switch, and you can run your business or your house off of a generator that is only producing what you're using, nothing extra. Solar panels have a capability. When we design a solar system, when we sit and we send the plans and we get the plans approved, we design a system to meet your power needs, whatever those power needs might be. Some houses is a 5 kW, some houses is a 15 kW. You know, it depends on what your power needs are. But whatever those power, the system we design, that is what the system is capable of producing. So if your house is only consuming 2, where you have an 8 kW, the panels are still producing 8. 2 are going to your house, and the other 8 are going out to the grid. During a power outage, when the grid is not available, the panels will still produce 8. 2 will come to your house. Even if we segregate your house and we make it an island, so that nothing goes out to the grid, those 8 have to go someplace, because the panels are producing the 8. And if they cannot go out to the grid, now it's a safety, it's a concern electrically, because now you're over, you have a much larger burden on your electrical system, and your breakers, your wiring cannot take the extra energy. That is why the rapid shutdown is in place right now with the equipment, so that you can eliminate that threat. All the safety is put in place. Safety has to come first. So that's why now, with the new inverters and with the ability to store the energy, your panels can produce the 8, your house is going to consume the 2, and the other 6 are going to go into storage. And starting in the first quarter of 2019, with the new inverters, those inverters will have the capability, the software, to tell the panel, I know that you want to produce 8, but right now we only need 2. So we're only going to produce 2 for right now. So during the daylight hours, your panels are going to produce 100%, even with the grid being down. Because your solar system just became the exact equivalent of that power generator. Again, with the proper equipment, island the business or the home, so that you don't have the ability to send back to the grid during that time frame. Automatic transfer switches will be in place, but you will have the ability to maintain your business and to run your business. And then with the additional batteries, with the addition of storage, you'll also have that same capability of running and maintaining maybe your critical equipment running during the nighttime. The panels will produce it, run it, store it, and then at nighttime you're running off of your batteries. Is that?
Yes, I know we had a question out here.
Yes, sir.
So let's say that I have a shopping center, I want to put like a electric cars, you know, for the plug-ins. So is the technology where solar could handle that, or not at this time?
So I'll give you a perfect example. I run my house on solar. I run my house on solar for the past 6 years. Last year I purchased an electric vehicle. I ran it for 3 months, deciding what my power consumption for the vehicle was going to be, and we simply added 6 more panels, and those 6 panels are what I use to charge my car. So my car runs on solar power also. So for a shopping center, for example, that wanted to put these charging stations, one of the things that we're seeing across the country being utilized is carports.
Right.
So that people park underneath it, they got shade, people really appreciate that, and the power being generated from those carports is powering those charge stations.
So as a rule of thumb, can you take one panel that covers a parking stall is enough for one car?
No, I would say closely to 4 panels for one car.
So four parking stalls for one car, and like,
No, the 4 panels are probably, 4 panels will be 12 by 15, so that's probably about the size of a parking spot.
so basically almost, as a rule of thumb, one parking stall could generate enough for one car?
Correct, correct. And also, if you're doing it in a commercial state, you may want to put the charging stations that are not like very fast. Maybe they're pulling, instead of pulling 70 amps, they're pulling maybe 40 amps. Just enough to give the customer a chance to charge up while they're there. For example, what we have in Pinecrest Gardens.
Right, exactly.
It's a great charging station, it's a great charging system, but they also draw less electricity, therefore having less needs of, the amount of panels.
And to avoid having to disassemble, what's the category rating, like, what's the wind load?
Those can be designed to wind loads of 175.
They have to be, right?
Yeah.
We require
They will have to be.
They have to meet the high velocity wind zone. So whatever you put in is going to be designed the same as your-
Regardless where you put it, whether it's standalone or top of the roof, it's
Correct.
175.
So you don't have to keep on taking it out every time?
No, solar.
Because unfortunately, to take it down, you would have to have a contractor. So, because it's dangerous, that stuff, those panels, when he's talking about that they shut off, doesn't mean that the PVs aren't still generating electric. So if you don't know what you're doing,
Yeah, it takes a contractor, an electrical
Yes.
contractor to do this.
so they're designed to stay up. And if we get above 185 mile an hour sustained, we're gonna have a lot more problems than those panels blowing away or. So,
During the past storm,
yeah.
we have over 500 installations already in place. I know that Miami-Dade County, we didn't have 180 mile an hour winds. In the Keys, we did. We had actually 4 installations where the eye of the storm went over our installations. Not one single panel was damaged. In Pinecrest, we had tremendous tree damage. Tremendous tree damage. There were homes that we pulled up and I was like, where are the panels? Where's the roof of this house? And we had no damage whatsoever. No damage. So they're designed to stay in place. They're impact resistant to 262. And we do the installations. Part of the installation is we turn in both electrical and structural plans. They review them and they approve the plans, and we do the installation to meet all wind load calculations of 175 or above.
Is there one that's close by that I could drive to look at?
The closest installation that I would say is similar to what you're speaking about. FPNL did the installation over at the FIU campus. They have a very large carport area. I would think it's very close to what you're speaking about.
Palmetto Bay has behind the city hall, there's 2 charging stations with a set of panels. It's not over the parking space. They actually made a bike rack thing, and it's got a roof, and it's got panels, and it handles the 2 chargers.
That's in the Hibiscus of US 1.
Is everything in the typical sense when you say panel? I think the typical panel.
I have one outside. We can take a look at it.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because I've looked into Tesla, they now have, and I'm looking at the barrel type roof. I mean, it looks just like a Florida roof, and you would never know it's a solar panel.
Well, unfortunately, Tesla does a fantastic job at marketing themselves, and they promote products that. How long are we waiting for the Powerwall? I got customers for the last 18 months with deposits on the Powerwall and still not available. The tiles that they're promoting, the factory where the tiles are going to be made just broke ground 2 weeks ago in New York. So I think we're at least a year away, at least a minimum of a year.
That's what they told me. They told me 2019.
And then they will have to have product approval. There's a long process to get it approved to be used.
And
I was just asking from an aesthetic viewpoint. I mean, obviously, you would never know if you were driving by and you saw that.
well, I've seen it. I've been out to the 2 homes that they installed. Actually, saw one, and it is substantially different. While the shape is the same, the material is substantially different. So I like it. I'm a fan of solar panels. I've never, I've had my argument with Coral Gables Board of Architects all the time about or whether they're ugly or they're pretty. I think they're amazing. I have my $9 electric bill. I think solar panels are amazing. So the tiles definitely, I believe, is going to change the look of the home or the business. Now, and a business, I see a lot very close. I think that would be really nice for a business. I'm not sure in the residential, especially because of the architecture that we have, we are going to have many applications for that product. And again, I think we're talking, when it becomes available in 2020, 2021, for Miami-Dade County, window calculation is probably going to take about another 2 years before they make the investment to come to the market.
And also the cost level is really not
Correct. The cost
is just not even close.
Is
solar
4 to 1 right now.
Yes.
4 times more than a solar panel. So
it's crazy.
yeah, it will become financially, but again, that's because they only produce enough for 2 homes. When they mass produce it, the cost might substantially, we have to see, we'll have to wait and see. I'm a fan, I love the technology. I'm not so sure it's something that we can, that part of it, I'm not so sure we're going to be able to adapt to it. Thank you very much. When we're finished, we can walk us out, we can look at the panel, the batteries, and we can talk about that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Tom,
So we have 3 different representatives of PACE Financing. We have Counterpoint Energy Solutions, Renew Financial, and Y-Green. If you guys would like to come up and introduce yourselves and talk about PACE Financing a little bit and what services your companies can provide, we'd appreciate it.
Good morning. My name is Jose Marcos. I'm with Counterpoint. I have my colleague Adam Limpkin. He's the executive director of Counterpoint, and he will be able to give you some highlight on what Counterpoint actually offers for PACE.
Thanks. So just quickly, it's great to be here with everybody. I'd really love to see more municipalities looking at how they could build more resilient cities and looking at some of the programs that exist now in the country. I think the PACE program is really a pretty cutting edge program. It's very thoughtful. I'm just curious, how many of you were familiar with PACE before you heard about this event? By show of hands. Okay, that's pretty common actually these days. So definitely something to look more into. PACE stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. It's essentially a way to finance a lot of these types of improvements that could help make your homes or your commercial properties more energy efficient. In Florida, we can include any kind of resiliency improvements, so that's your impact windows and doors, impact or freaking resistant roofs, and a few other items. So definitely worth finding out more about. There's a few providers here. Study it a little bit. It's something you're going to hear a lot more about over the upcoming years. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kerry Stark. I work for Y-Green Energy Fund. Again, we're a PACE provider. The things we've talked about this morning, electric charging stations, solar panels, all generators, those things are all covered under PACE financing. And so you can get long-term financing without having to come out of pocket up front. And it is not something where you have to offer a personal guarantee. The collection is done through an assessment that goes on your property tax bill. Therefore, it's not a credit-based product. And that's important for you because, again, you don't have to give a personal guarantee, but you can still get the advantages of everything that's covered. So that's really brief. Feel free to come on back. So.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Louis Royer. I'm with Renew Financial. We are one other of the PACE providers, and my colleagues have pretty much covered it all. We are in the back, ready for your questions and to proceed with any projects that you might have. Rule of thumb, if it produces energy, if it saves energy, or if it protects against the hurricane, it's PACE eligible. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Just as a brief follow-up, Stephen asked me to follow up on the assessment piece. Basically, what happens is once a project is designed, whatever that total dollar amount is will be financed over a certain amount of years. Most PACE providers go out roughly 25 years. If you want to extend it for that long, it's going to be a fixed rate. So even as interest rates continue to rise, yours will be fixed. but that will show up on your property tax bill as a non-ad valorem assessment. So it's a voluntary assessment that you're assessing against your property. Any of the improvements that you're doing also have to be affixed to your property. So that's critical, because if you ever go to sell your home, either you may pass that on to the next person buying, or you may, through negotiations, have to pay it off. Either way. But that shows up on your property tax bill as an assessment. It's only an assessment to you. It's a completely voluntary assessment. So it's just for your project. Yes, sir.
So you don't have to notify your lender, right? There's no need, or there's a requirement?
We are required to notify your lender, but it is just to notify them. They do not have to consent for you to be able to do that financing. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So at this point in our workshop, we have Florida City Gas, and they have a PowerPoint presentation to share with you. And Eldon Moyer from Florida City Gas and Manny Gomez will be talking. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Very high tech. That's my kind of high tech. We don't have to do that. I mean, I can do that.
It'll only take a second.
When you start with this like good morning, thank you for the invitation with Florida City Gas, with your natural gas utility. Florida City Gas was established in 1945. We've been around since then. We started as a natural gas and propane company. The propane section of it was sold out in the 1970s, and we just do straight natural gas. I'm not going to bore you with some of that stuff. Good morning. Abundant is natural gas. Is 98% of the natural gas is made in the country. The difference of 2% comes from Canada. So it's U.S. We have enough natural gas in the United States for the next 100 years. These are the biggest challenges when you are looking to get natural gas in your business. The venting, manufacturers, determine the feasibility of outdoor equipment, explore common venting options, and design mechanical rooms with natural gas in mind. These are the main things that you have to do anytime you're thinking of getting natural gas. Most of the upfront costs of the installation of natural gas, like explained before, is you have federal and state tax credits, rebates, loan programs from green gas appliances. It is very important, this is our biggest issues with any commercial installation, even residential installation, and especially with generators. It is very important that you contact the gas company at the beginning when you're designing the equipment that you're going to have. This is what the utility needs to know. The total CFH, cubic per hour load of your equipment and a generator. We will need to know at 100% capacity what is that load. The desired meter location, the desired delivery pressure, very important. If you have any plans for future expansions, and the location of all the utilities, walkways, windows, etc. This is the way we calculate our allowed investment. As a utility, we're allowed to help you with the construction costs. We estimate the BTUs and the rates which determines the annual margin. That margin is multiplied by a factor of 6 to determine the total allowable investment. Construction cost is determined by the length size of pipe as well as the cost of metering equipment. If the allowable investment is greater than the cost to serve, there is no charge to the customer. If in the event of a shortfall, the customer is required to pay the difference and it's called contribution or aid to construction. It's very important. All appliances that are natural gas qualify except 2 for any type of credit. Standby appliances like a generator is not considered a standard fuel burning equipment because it's only a standby, so there's no credit. So anytime you install a generator, whether it's residential or commercial, you will have to pay 100% for the cost of the installation. We also have some other technology that we have condensing unit boilers, gas heat pumps, CHP, and tankless water heaters. Next one. Gas heat pump, they're produced by Ansin Seiki Company. They're 8 to 15 ton models currently available in the US, and there are 150,000 units installed. Our facility in Doral have these units installed. If anybody ever wants to go and see them, they're very quiet. Go to the next one. CHP can reduce the electric consumption for about 90%, which when you have CHP and you need to still put a generator, you bring down the capacity of your generator based on the consumption. The energy consumption pretty much is 90%. If the compressor will be 90% of your electrical is the compressor. 90% runs on natural gas. And it's very easy. Gas heat pumps is an air-conditioned system driven by gas engine instead of electrical motor. Normally you have your compressor and your electrical motor. It will look pretty much the same. It's just a lot quieter, and you will have your compressor and your reciprocating engine that will run the air conditioning. 100 tons of boilers and chillers, 100 tons of GPS installed can replace boilers and chillers. And this was a study case that was done. Combined heat and power. What are you? Okay, this was a study case that was done in a situation where they replaced boilers and chillers, and they had a 35% energy savings. They projected 69% reduction in carbon footprint. For 26,770,340 pounds over 20 years life cycle, which is the life cycle of the air conditioner. Combined heat and power. CHP is a brand new technology. It's not being used here very much. It's being used up north. And basically what it does is, in most states, it produces electricity. It's like a standby generator, but it produces electricity all the time. In order for you to have that, you have to have necessity for hot water, because one of the byproducts of this unit is that it produces an excess amount of hot water. So this is very good in a hotel operation and a restaurant operation. Otherwise, it's not feasible because the cost of the unit itself is very expensive versus a regular standby generator. However, it can produce electricity 100%. In the state of Florida, there's no, you cannot sell back the electricity to FPL. In other states, when you produce electricity over what is needed on the grid, then you can sell it back to the grid. In the state of Florida, that's not allowable. Go ahead, the next one. Conventional generation versus CSP. Pretty much, conventional generation, you got your power fill plant, your boiler fuel on site, and you have an 87% loss. In CHP, you got conventional heat and power, your CH fuel, and you only use 15% of the actual energy versus 87%. Tankless water heater, I think everybody's very familiar with this. The average efficiencies are 82 to 95%. They can be incorporated in direct vent or power vent as a standard option, can be used as a backup for solar thermal applications, and tankless models are modular. Go ahead. Everybody's familiar with the generators. Again, natural gas generators, they run cleaner and longer than diesel and gasoline. You don't, and propane, you don't have to worry about getting your tank filled when the propane company is very busy filling emergency stations. And that's pretty much it. Next. If anybody has any questions?
Any plans on extending the gas line?
We're working on it. We're working on it. As a matter of fact, we are working with a special taxing district. We had for the residential. Most of the commercial in Pinecrest is right on US 1, and we're already there. Residential-wise, we have a big request from the residents of Pinecrest, and we are working on it again because we're a utility. We have a tariff that we have to follow, as I explained to you before. But there are programs available that we're trying to work out to help those residents, even if it's block by block. As far as coming in and putting lines all over the place, I wish we could, but we can't. And we can't because we need to protect our ratepayers.
What areas, residential areas in Pinecrest, do you now cover?
Just about 95% of Pinecrest is not covered.
It's not covered.
Is not covered. We have a very small, I don't know why, we talked about this before. It's funny because we got Palmetto Bay. For whatever reason, they skip Pinecrest. I don't know.
Do you know what area is covered?
The area closest to South Miami and Gables, on the north side of Pinecrest, that small area back there, they do have it. US 1 has it, and I got a couple of blocks of US 1 here and there that people have paid for main extensions. But basically US 1 and a very small area on the north side of, right at the borderline between Gables and Pinecrest.
Elder, do you have Red Road? Are you on Red Road? Red Road, old color?
No color. No color. Our line in the color starts in 168th Street. We went all the way down to Power Jungle. For whatever reason, that line was abandoned. So it starts in 168. That's what our line starts in no color, 168. Goes all the way down to Florida City.
Do you presently go down all of US 1?
We are going down all of US 1.
Is it presently there now?
Yeah.
It's presently. So
Yeah.
any business that is fronts US 1
Yeah.
should have a line in front of it.
Yes. The line, you either will have it on the sidewalk or you have it on the other side, you know, because there's times that we cross over, but you do have a line. You definitely have a line in US 1. It's going all the way up down to Homestead. So that's in line.
You don't have any lines behind the shopping centers and the alleys, do you?
I do. In Pinecrest, I do.
Okay.
Because basically what we do when we have a shopping center, this is exactly what we do. This is why some of the residentials have it. We will make a main from the main to the back of the shopping center and then run actually a main in the back of that shopping center and run service lines for everybody. Because of course you don't want to put the meters right in the front. So we are extending the main and going through the back. What happened was a lot of the residents that were in the back of that shopping center was able to benefit from that main. But yeah, we do have a lot of lines in back of the shopping centers. Yeah. That's usually the way we install it, because we're always going to install it in the back. Any other question? I didn't mention one thing that we have, and money works in our energy efficient rebate department. We have rebates for all the equipment, except the generator.
And if you have any questions regarding permit or code requirements, etc., feel free to give Leo, Paul, or Pat, or myself, or Carolina Rojas, our administrative assistant, a call in the building and planning department, and we'll certainly help you in any way that we can. So now we have a solar display. Cutler Bay Solar Solutions has set up outside. They would like you to take a look at that. You're welcome to help yourself to any of the snacks at the back of the room as well. And thank you again for coming out this morning.